everyone, welcome back to the second fall and winter garden tour of 2020. For those of you who are new here, my name is Faith and I'm a gardener here in North Florida, and the garden tours are probably some of my longer videos, but it's a chance for me to show you what's going on and everything that I have currently growing in my garden. So as it stands, I have been having some bad luck this gardening season. I accidentally killed all of my cold weather plants, which I then bought and repurchased. And then just recently, we had our very first frost, which killed some of my late summer crops that I had grown, some of my squashes and things like that. So I was tempted to clean everything out and have everything looking beautiful and perfect, but that's honestly not realistic at all. And a lot of things really kind of died from that frost, and I wanted to show you what happened, and yeah, before we go on. And yes, I know I'm a little bit dressed up today. It's because I'm going to a holiday party as soon as I finish filming this, so take a moment to appreciate this rare dressed upness, because this doesn't happen very much. Usually I'm in my grubby, dirty garden stuff a lot. Oliver, someone's trying desperately to get my attention. Hi, bud. Hi. This what you want? Oh. So you'll see as we go around that some of the plants have been kind of damaged from frost pretty bad. Some of the stuff that were on my trellises. I did have a lot of frost blankets that I put out over my tomatoes and my herb beds, so those are still doing really well. And of course the vegetables that can handle frost and things like that, like the kale and the brassicas, those are all doing really well too, and I didn't even need to put blankets out over those. So it's mostly the squashes and beans that I had on my trellis that have the most frost damage. So let me show you. So first we have my first herb bed, which I was able to cover with a frost blanket. So it's still doing really well. We've got some sage and borage and echinacea. I actually have this ground cherry that started growing on its own. It was self-sown, so that's pretty exciting. Stevia, some Mexican sunflowers, which you guys know these are my favorite. So I also have just flowers for the pollinators in here too. Some little pansies. So this is African blue basil, and it did get, even with the blanket, a little damaged, but I'm not worried about it. I'll just cut it back and it'll grow back. Some motherwort and lemon balm. I like to use those for my teas. Some chamomile that isn't flowering yet. All sorts of herbs. Now this is the first thing that you can probably see is really gotten the most frost damage, because it didn't have a blanket at all, and that was these scarlet runner beans. And I'm still waiting for them to dry. All the bean pods still look really good, so I'm not super worried about that. But I'm trying to seed save so that I can have more seeds, because I didn't really get that many, and so I'm hoping to just save the seeds, and once they kind of dry out, then I'll probably take these off the trellis. They're still doing all right, but you can see all the frost just came and really killed a lot of this. Also, I just wanted to open one of these scarlet runner beans. I don't know if you've ever seen these beans, but they're the prettiest beans ever. Look at these. Is that not pretty? I don't know if it's just like the girly girl in me, but wow, isn't that a cool, pretty bean? Okay, I got a few more so that you can really see them. How beautiful are these beans? They are the coolest beans ever. Oop, I just dropped one. So I know the scarlet runner beans aren't looking the best right now from the frost damage, but they really are a wonderful plant where you can get the beans, harvest the beans at all sorts of different stages throughout their growth for eating, and also they put off these pretty red flowers that the hummingbirds just absolutely love. So they really have attracted a lot of hummingbirds into my garden this past year from having them. So I'm really a big fan and really have enjoyed it. I have noticed that because of how hot it is here in Florida, I have had much better luck growing them in the fall than I typically do in the spring. By the time they're really flowering and getting going, it's starting to get too hot and all the blossoms dropped last year. So definitely having much better luck here in the fall. And then we have my next herb bed, some rosemary, and this is a bachelor's button down here, marigold, some more Mexican sunflowers. I think I'm going to take this one out because it's like completely fallen over and it's got some pretty bad frost damage as well. Echinacea, cilantro, aloe vera, some yarrow that's not flowering, some catnip that seems to be taking over the world, chamomile, our sorts of herbs in this bed. I also wanted to say too that catnip is actually really good for like a calming herb to add into teas and things. It's really good for humans as well. A lot of people think of it only for cats because it's really known for that, but it's really helpful and has a lot of beneficial benefits for humans as well. So then we have all of my lettuces, which are starting to all bolt on me, but this was like a oak leaf lettuce just starting to bolt. I'm going to probably be seed saving from all of these lettuces so that I can have more. This was like a ruby red. It's about to bolt as well, but I really am probably just going to leave one plant to flower so I can seed save and then replant some lettuces all interspersed so that I can have some more lettuces, because lettuces really are kind of one of my favorite things to eat and have throughout fall. So this was a red romaine. It's about to flower any day now. This was prize head. It has gotten really, this thing has grown kind of crazy. I don't know if you can see, but it still has not flowered, which is crazy. I need to get some lettuces before these really bolt. But some regular romaine that is bolting. And then some really beautiful mustard greens. I love this purple. They're so pretty. How gorgeous. Look at that, and this green and purple. I think that's just so beautiful. And then I've got some peas growing on the trellis here. And then I did have some butternut squashes, but as you can see, the frost kind of killed those, and that's okay. It can always be a gamble growing in fall because you never know if you're gonna have enough time before the frost comes or not. Sometimes it doesn't frost here until January, and I would have had all of December without a frost, but this year I didn't get quite as lucky, so it is what it is. And I will probably take that gamble and try again next year as well. Here we have some more kohlrabi and then all of my kale. This is let's see, what is this? This is a blue night kale. It looks like a curled kale. And then we have some blue Lacento kale, which I had been growing this on my own before I had killed all my plants, but I actually found the same exact thing at the nursery, so that was pretty exciting to be able to get that same kind. Back here I have all of my carrots and then all of my fall tomatoes. These do have a little bit of frost damage, but overall it's not so bad, and you can see that I'm probably gonna start getting some tomatoes any day now, so that's really exciting. Look how beautiful. So that is called Martha's Roma tomato. It's the first time I've ever grown it, but I really like that size. I think it's really good for salads, so I'm pretty excited about that. I took a gamble this year to decide to grow tomatoes in the fall because I've never tried, and just like the squashes, I think if I had blankets to put on top of the squashes, those would still be living as well, but at least I did have enough blankets to get the tomatoes covered, and they do have frost damage still, but overall I think they're gonna live, and I'm gonna have tomatoes. So we've got all sorts of tomatoes in here that might be ready any day now. Look how beautiful these are. It doesn't feel anywhere near ready. I forget the name of this kind too, so I guess I'll just have to wait and see. But you can see that all of my tomatoes have already reached the top of the trellises, and I've already gone through and topped them. So we're kind of just waiting. I have done less pruning this year than I do in the summer. Oh wow, look at that. But overall, it's working out pretty well. A little wild, but I'm okay with it. I wasn't trying to spend that much time pruning tomatoes. This is a blueberry. Ooh, that one's ready. Ooh. All right, this is my first fall tomato. This is a blueberry tomato. Isn't that beautiful? So this is a Brad's Gate variety cherry tomato. It's called a blueberry. I also grew blue goldberries over the summer and really loved those as well. So this is really cool. I was not expecting this. I don't know if you can see it. Ooh. I probably shouldn't eat tomatoes in my nice clothes before I'm about to go to a party, but that was totally worth it. I was scared for a second. It like burst. I was like, oh no, it's about to be all over my shirt. Very good. Back here, I don't know if you could remember that I was trying to figure out what to grow back behind this trellis because it really doesn't get much sun, and I decided to grow rutabagas. So I have some rutabagas growing back here. I don't know if they'll do well because the tomatoes really block any sort of sun, but we'll see. So then over here on my second trellis back here, I have more tomatoes. I have some beautiful nasturtiums. Got a little bit of frost damage as well, but so beautiful. How pretty. More tomatoes coming. None of these are close to ready, but that's okay. And then down here I've got a bunch of radishes, which I think I need to start figuring out what I want to do with these. So I'm really wanting to do some fermented radishes just because I'm out of completely all of my ferment, sauerkraut, anything fermented, and I'm really feeling like this time of year is when I really need to up my amount of probiotics. So I'm really wanting to do some fermented radishes to add on top of salads and any sort of dishes like that. So I'll probably be making a video on that soon, or just like on fermented vegetables in general, if not just about radishes, but we'll see. I also think roasted radishes would be really good because I know it kind of takes out some of that super spiciness of radishes, and so does fermenting as well. So if you're not really a big fan of a super spicy type of radish, fermenting and roasting it is really helpful because it kind of takes that out. Also, if you've never had radishes or not sure if you like radishes, I wasn't sure if I liked them before I started growing them, but honestly I have learned to love them because they are just so easy to grow. They're one of the quickest, easiest growing vegetables, especially for beginners. So if you've never grown them, I really suggest giving it a go because it's just really enjoyable to grow them because it's easy and it's fun, and then you very quickly have something to show for your efforts. So I definitely recommend growing radishes and finding fun ways to eat them if you've never really given that a shot before. Look at this guy. Little radish. So the greens of radishes are also edible. You can saute them up and it kind of takes out some of that prickliness of the greens, or if you're not sure if you want to cook their greens or you have enough greens already, you can just give them to your chickens, or compost them and still put them to good use. So look at that guy. Very cool. I grew all sorts of type of radishes too. I grew like a rainbow mix, black Spanish, some watermelon, so I guess we'll see when we cut them open. Ooh, this is, I think this is like a black beauty or a blue beauty. Oh, and I have, look at that. Some beans are growing up my tomatoes. So, as you can see back here on the other side of tomatoes, I've got some bush beans going. I have a purple one, and then I also have dragon's tongue, which are always so pretty. I need to come out here and harvest these as well. So, I have a whole full bed of bush beans back here. I don't think my hand's even big enough to fully hold these, but I just harvested a lot of beans. I did not realize I had as many as I did. So that's a nice, perfect amount for a jade and I really did not even realize I had this many ready. I hadn't really paid much attention to them, so I'm really, really excited about that. Aren't those pretty as well? Look at these little stripy, pretty beans. Bush beans are another one of those things that are really easy to grow and that are also really fun. I've never had a problem growing bush beans, and I really love dragon's tongue. Is honestly my favorite. It's always tender, never tough. It's just so easy to grow, really beautiful, which is always rewarding. I love growing food that I can't easily find at a grocery store because there's no fun in that to me. Well, it would still be fun, but I think it's even more fun to grow. My dogs are going wild. I don't know if you can see them. But it's even more fun to grow. Oh my gosh. But it's even more fun to grow things that you can't find. So, these dogs, sorry. And last, I have over here on my barn where I had all of my, hi guys, are you trying to steal the show? Where I had all my squashes, and they have been really just killed by the frost, so I'm not worried about that. This Mexican sunflower also kind of looks like it got killed by the frost, but everything else is really pretty, so I'm not as worried about lack of squash. Beautiful, beautiful. I love seeing a full trellis of tomatoes. So you guys, I think that's it for me today. I've got to get going to my holiday party and see my family. That is the full garden tour as of right now. I'm probably gonna go through tomorrow and clean up a lot of this frost damage stuff, a lot of the squashes and stuff, and take those off the trellis and do some garden cleanup. But I wanted you to see everything as it was before I did that, just so you could have a really realistic view of how things are going right now. I don't want you to think that everything's always perfect and tidy, because that's not the case. And probably any gardener's garden, there's always work and things that need to be done and things that happen. And so I think being true to that and showing that is the most beneficial thing that I could do. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next week. I'm being yelled at that it's time to go. So I hope you enjoyed the garden tour. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe if you want to see more videos I post every week. So see you all soon.